This is still Signature Morning, and on Signature TV, I will always love to remind us to follow us on all our social media handles as Signature TV officials on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And yes, dive on to YouTube because we are on 24 hours live at Signature TV. We're switching guests, and we're also talking on another topic that, yes, is prevalent in Nigeria, but also have a way it affects the global world, and that is the issue of the hashtag end bad governance. The thing with the detainees, some people were detained. And to do this with us, to have this discussed with us, is Barrister Nwanibo Nwankwo.
Yes.
Aganibo Nwankwo. He is a chartered mediator and counselor. Conciliator. I wanted to say that, but conciliator, yes. Good morning.
Thank you, Chairman.
Welcome.
Yeah.
I will just dive straight because, it sounds as if you really want to face this head on. And so that we'll get on with what we have with today. What are you're a barrister, you're a lawyer.
Yeah.
What are the legal grounds for the detention of these protesters? And have they been formally charged?
The detention is across the nation, and there are legal grounds. The Administration of Criminal Justice Act, allows law enforcement agents to detain. In fact, the Section 35 of the Constitution says that 24 hours is permissible for a suspect to be detained pending investigation and arraigned in court within 24 hours if the distance between the station or the place of detention and the court is within 40 kilometers. And where it is not so, as soon as practicable, within 48 hours. However, if there is need to exceed that time frame as enshrined by the provisions of the Constitution, the law enforcement agency need to approach the court for leave. We call it in criminal justice system remand proceedings, whereby the prosecuting agency will have to come by motion ex parte to seek, just like the case of Nnamdi Kanu or something like that in DSS, they go to court to seek the permission of the court to continue the detention as their investigation is going on. So in these parts of the countries across the nations where these end bad governance arrests were made, it depends on the circumstances and the charges upon which those arrests were made. Some were on treasonable felony, some were, insurrection, some were on arson, malicious damage to property, stealing. So these are, a variety of arrests, massive arrests made, and they are not on the same grounds or charges.
But protest in itself is legal in Nigeria.
Of course. You have the right to protest. In fact, the freedom of speech guaranteed by the Constitution is apt, but remember, the freedom is not absolute. It is qualified. It presupposes on the facts of jurisprudence of rights and duties. For every right, there is a corresponding duty. And your right stops where mine starts. This is in consonance with the theory of law that says that law is about a social contract. In order to mitigate the stem of right is might. That right is determined by the weight of the fist. Every citizen in the society alienates a significant part of that right to a sovereign who will act for and on behalf of everyone, thereby moderating those rights by corresponding duty, by imposing corresponding duty. So the right to protest is very, very legal and should be upheld by a society and justice system. But remember that right is not qualified. If you are protesting peacefully, you are very protected under the law. But if you are in the course of your protest, you kill people, injure police officers, loot banks, loot supermarkets, burn government properties and offices, the law will only protect you to the extent of your own rights.
So you are saying that some of these arrests that have been made, the government might not just go by these guys are protesting. They might go straight to saying that these guys are criminals, and even say bring up trump up charges, because that's what we always hear in terms of things like this. Do you think it also would depend on the defense that those who have been who will be charged to court would put up to determine their release?
Everything is on the preponderance of evidence. Trumped-up charges are tested on the law of evidence. If the charges are trumped up, it will fail on the law of evidence, because no person can be convicted without proof of his guilt, and the standard of proof is beyond reasonable doubt. However, on the fate of those that have been arrested, there is a fact that people protested and which they so have a right to. Now, there is a fact that in the course of that protest, crimes were committed.
Within the jurisdiction of which part? Because we know there are some states that were quite peaceful. There are some states that are not peaceful. And even the states that are quite peaceful, people were arrested in those states.
Well, in the Police Act, the provisions of the Police Act are very clear. You know, the police are mandated to detect and prevent crime, not just arresting criminals or detecting crime. When a crime has been committed, the police swings into action. No, they also have the mandate of preventing crime. That comes to intelligence.
So when you say detect, does it have to do with their notion? If they feel, for instance, that this person is going to be aggressive in the future, you know, they detect it, and so they arrest. Because how do the authorities justify the detention of peaceful protesters?
Well, on the issue of detecting or, you know, apprehension, like you said, I had mentioned earlier that it has to do with intelligence gathering. If the police, you know, in the course of their intelligence gathering and sharing within the intelligence community, you know, have probable cause to say that this individual is involved in the planning or orchestration of a particular crime, they might invite you for questioning. That the police arrested you is not a subsisting proof of your guilt. Arrest is not a proof of guilt. Arrest is a commencement of criminal investigation.
So does it also justify, you said it's not a proof of guilt.
It's not a proof of guilt.
Now, they come to arrest you. Does it also justify why they harass people during arrest?
Well, that one is harassment during arrest is, I cannot rule it out on the issue of the ethics of the Nigerian police force is that they must do everything reasonable within the circumstance they find themselves. If a citizen is resisting arrests or obstructing a police officer in the course of his duty, he may use reasonable force to bring the person into custody. Remember, I said reasonable force. Now, what is reasonable differ in each of the circumstances.
So if, for instance, you come to arrest someone and the person asks, why are you arresting me? And they land the person a hot slap.
That is not acceptable. That is not acceptable, because the police, by the ethics of the Police Act and their mandates, you are, as a citizen, according to the provisions of the Constitution, entitled to be informed of the reason for your arrest.
There's something you just mentioned that's quite interesting. You said that arrest is not a proof that you are guilty.
Yes.
It's a commencement of an investigation. I thought that before you even arrest somebody, you already have an evidence against them. You already done your due diligence. You already have facts. Because again, how I see it happen outside this country is before they move to arrest anybody, before they come to your door, before they even call you, they already have something on you. But why would it be different here in Nigeria, where you are commencing an investigation, then you are arresting the person, and then when they finally find out that nothing, you haven't done anything, you pay huge sums for bail, and then on the other hand, you keep hearing bail is free.
Well, I believe that would be for the police to answer. However, in other climes like the United States of America and in some places in the United Kingdom, investigations are done. You are being monitored and trailed. Then, when they have a prima facie, case against you, they are able to establish a prima facie case against you. They can now bring you in. Here, because of our somewhat peculiar system, we do not have proper record or digitalized system of people and the movement of people in Nigeria. Apart from the territorial borders, one cannot actually say when one has relocated from Enugu to Abakaliki.
So we should have that, right?
Yes, but this is the situation. I'm talking about the situation we have found ourselves in. I don't know why it is like that, but this is what is prevalent in our society. In fact, I can bet even the name that the national identification number that is now ongoing, you can see that some people are not even identified as Nigerians. So it will be very difficult for the police to, expend human and material resources to start trailing one person in a country of over 200 million people.
So whose fault is it? Is it because most times they go ahead to arrest innocent people? You find out that someone might just tell you, this person, okay, like yes, I think there was just a case I heard about yesterday. Someone told someone that this person is a criminal, and you've not done any investigation, and you went ahead and arrested the person because someone told you, you're a police officer, that this person is a criminal.
An investigation started from.
No. Sometimes they don't even conduct investigation. They just take the word.
That's what I'm saying. They arrest you and then they start investigating.
Well,
I'll
have to say that it is the style of leadership that has been adopted over the years, not just this leadership. However, invariably, we, the people of Nigeria, are also participatory in that share of blame, because de Tocqueville said, in every given democracy, the people get the government they deserve.
Yes,
in every given democracy.
Yes.
But again, you would determine whether it is a democracy. But in every given democracy.
Well, you may say that, you may say that, but the truth of the matter is that our justice system is adversarial, and it is, especially in the criminal justice system, it is a very long procedure. The police is the gateway to a criminal justice system. It then comes to the prosecutors, both at the police and at the Attorney General's office, and then to the correctional service. Now, for the fate of the detainees of this protest, some of them have not been charged to court. Some of them have not been even arraigned. Some have been, and are now, upon a holding charge, they are remanded in prison custody, awaiting formal trial. Because in the awaiting of that trial, the magistrate who remanded them must have transmitted their file to the office of the Department of Public Prosecutions, the Director of Public Prosecutions, for his legal advice to determine whether a prima facie case has been made against such an individual, whether he should be prosecuted or discharged. And upon when a prima facie case is made, the person will be prosecuted in court. If there is no prima facie case, the person ought to be discharged.
But something you said again, I just want to ask further questions on. You said that if somebody is going to be held beyond 24 hours, that's provided by the law for you to hold somebody, and they can apply to court to extend that.
48 hours.
Oh, it's 48 hours.
24 hours if the proximity of the court is within 40 kilometers. That is a constitutional provision.
Okay. So in all, let's say 48 hours. You have
Yes.
to keep somebody for 48 hours, and afterwards, you must apply to the court in order to keep that person longer than 48 hours.
That is what the law says.
Okay. Even in that application, there is also a duration. True or false?
It is the court that determines.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Even in that court, if at all you are able to get it,
Yes.
there's also a duration.
And when you exceed it, you go back
You go
And
back
extend
to,
it.
to where?
to the court.
To extend it further.
That is the issue. That is the authority you have. That is the authority that granted you the powers, the authority, the powers to detain this person beyond the specified time of period stipulated by law.
Yes.
If you have exhausted it and you are not through with your investigation, you ought to go back to the authority and say,
Who are the you now? You mean the police force?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll be clear.
Yes.
So that it will not look like it's the
No. I
person
mean,
arrested.
I said the prosecutor
okay.
or the law enforcement agency.
So you mean somebody can be kept like that for up to 1 year? After the expiration of that particular court order, you go
You
back
go
and
again.
ask again. After that, you go back and ask again, just because you want to keep somebody and you have not tried them. It's not supposed to be like a limit to the amount of time or an amount of days you can actually give.
The same law that says a person must not be held beyond this particular period also affords the detainee, the suspect, the opportunity and right of bail pursuant to his constitutional right of personal liberty.
Okay.
He gets a lawyer who moves to the court. Even police grants administrative bail.
Okay, define the administrative bill. What do you
Administrative bail is a bail that is not granted by courts. Like police come, arrest you, you call your lawyer on the phone, he steps in to negotiate your bail at the police station. And interacts with the police on the nature of the offense and the chances of securing a conviction and the circumstances, discussing, analyzing the case.
Is it free?
How will I know?
but is it supposed to be free? Like they say bail is free. That's what it's supposed to be.
Bail is free.
So is this one supposed to be free?
Is it free?
I will have to point out something. That the police is saying bail is free. It's not that they are giving, that it is their kind of discretion. It is constitutional. It is a constitutional right. You have a right to personal liberty. If it is going to be deprived, there must be justification for that. You have a right to live. If it is going to be deprived, that you have your right to live will now be eroded, there should be justification for that. Either that you have killed somebody, you have deprived another of his life, or you have now turned against the state by treason, insurrection, or what have you, or that you have kidnapped another, or that you have robbed another with the use of firearm or any offensive weapon.
Wow.
Okay, should deprive you of your right to live.
There should be justification.
Okay, so kidnap can be
In
exchanged
Enugu State,
for-
it's a capital offense,
Okay.
death penalty,
And robbery is a capital offense?
by the provisions of the Robbery and Firearms Act.
If you rob somebody's home and steal something on your caught
Armed.
with
Okay,
arms,
but if you steal yam because it's 12,000 per tuber, would you be killed?
No.
Okay, so we'll move on. But that doesn't encourage stealing, please. Don't steal. Okay, so still on the detainees. So what is the fate of those that have been detained? And yes, there is also like a rumor of some sort that there's going to be another protest. So what's the fate of these ones that have been detained? Because they've not even been charged yet.
Some of them, some have been charged
So why
and pushed into the correctional service centers, awaiting their trial, who knows when.
Correctional Service Center, you mean prison?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll get to that. So for those that have not been charged, what is the reason the government is giving for not charging them and still detaining them?
The investigations have not been concluded.
But this is supposed to be done before the arrest.
In other crimes.
No, this is a crime. Nigeria is a crime.
Yeah.
And for instance, if I'm Ghana, I should say in other crime. And that other crime I'm talking about will be Nigeria. So in Nigeria, is it right?
I have earlier, tried to justify why it is so, because of our peculiar circumstances.
No, but I'm not saying about you justifying it. Is it right to detain them without charging them for this long?
It is not right. We are all on the same page that it is not right, but we are trying to note that yes, we have peculiar challenges as a society, as a people, of proper system of recording. However, on the question you asked about the fate of those that are yet to be charged and those that are charged now, I think their fate rests squarely, hanging in the balance between a political solution and the long judicial process of criminal justice. Why did I say a political solution? In jurisprudence and legal system, we talk about transitional justice initiatives. We all agree that in this country, nerves are already frayed. So in order to calm frayed nerves, the state, the government, initiate programs of transitional justice initiatives that are called transitional justice initiatives. You can go back to history when Obasanjo enacted the Okuta panel, whereby Truth and Justice Commission, people are allowed to air just like the NSAS panel, but that NSAS panel, some people are of the opinion that it was not holistic, in that some people were compensated and that some NSAS detainees are still in detention. So a lot of issues. But I believe that if the government of the day, constitutes some transitional justice initiatives, like where these nerves will be calmed, where we will talk to ourselves, where we will determine where are we going, how did we get here.
I mean, I'm just thinking in the broader perspective, people are planning for another protest, and we already have people who
we are not yet out from the one we did.
That people are still done. Don't you think this would be in some way, hone in on people trying to come out to express themselves? We know how people have been hungry, have been sad about this administration, how things have been difficult, and the only way they can express themselves is going out there to tell the government that they really feel bad about this. And it's unfortunate that they're being held, against their wishes. I don't know if you are eventually released at the end of the day, I don't think they are going to come out again. And you tend to now hone them on even expressing themselves by going to the street. Nobody's excusing destruction while you're protesting, but don't you think it will go a long way in even stopping other people who are trying to express themselves to do such?
Well, the truth about this matter is that these people believe predominantly that this end bad governance protest stems from the 2023 elections. Why did I say so? In that election, we saw a lot of brutality, not by state actors, but non-state actors. In fact, there was a woman that was beaten massively, injured on the head, and still insisted in Lagos that she would vote. And she voted. I think P2B went and saw and stayed with her. So if I were the president, the sitting president, I would also try to identify with such a woman, because I have not seen such a patriotic act in recent time. That is, in what we are talking about, transitional justice initiative, you know, there is what you call memorial. If you're going through New Market in Enugu, if you're a resident in Enugu, if you're going through New Market in Enugu, there's a roundabout where coal miners were erected. That statue reminds of the past, of the plight of these young laborers that were shot. Some of them were shot, some of them were maimed. It helped to calm frayed nerves. You know, the government of the day need to be responsive, because at the end of the day, they are not foreigners. Maybe if you get to the seat of power, you may not be too different from what we have today.
I hope to be.
I said you may not. I didn't say you will certainly.
Okay.
I said you may not be too different from what you have today. But the truth is that, just like I said, quoting the Teklov, the people get the government they deserve. And I keep on saying it because today I'm hearing that Jonathan is being clamored to come back. You know, those kind of things. So, what are you talking about? You rejected this guy in 2015.
Okay, you are a mediator, a chartered mediator and conciliator. Now, this is from the people. I'm just saying, what more could you be telling the government of the day to actually, first off, impede this incoming protest? Because, like you said, nerves are frail and people are agitated about a whole lot of things. The ship is hard. I think because it's hard ship, we know this ship is hard. And now, what more would you be telling them? Will you be telling them?
Well,
what would you be telling the government?
My position on the government of the day is sensitivity, priority. You can see the long time it took to negotiate for 70,000 naira minimum wage.
More than a year.
But he didn't take so much time to buy presidential yachts or acquire the presidential jets. You know, one senator will come in to say, I earn 21 million naira. Another will say it is running costs. It is not true. You know, every government needs to be responsive and sensitive. Because it is a government by the people, of the people, and for the people. So you are not in a class of your own. You are there because we are. If there is no people to govern, you won't be there. So that is just it. It's sensitivity and priority.
Thank you so much, Barrister.
Because in the last regime, President Buhari was on and off in medical tourism. And you know the irony of it all. You will meet Nigerians there because they have all immigrated. There are no doctors, there are no nurses. Nursing and Midwifery Council were just stopped verification of certificates, and the Senate is saying, please start verifying. So you need to be sensitive and responsive to the people who have elected you.
Okay, Barrister, let's leave it there. Barrister Aganigbo Nwankwo. He is a chartered mediator and conciliator. Many thanks for your time. We truly, truly, really appreciate you. We'll keep, engaging on these issues.
Thank you very much, Charles.
Thank you again.
Thank you.